Previously, we drove from San Francisco and spent an amazing day and a half in Lassen Volcanic National Park in Redding, California. In this video, we are heading to Redwoods National Park to see many big trees, the fern walls, and the amazing Pacific Ocean views. So we're heading out from Redding now towards Redwoods National and State Parks, which takes about 3.5 hours. On the way there, we stopped in a grocery store in this charming little town called Weaverville. And as we got closer to the redwoods, we stopped in this little camp store. We've been looking for jet boiled fuel since we've landed, and this is the first place that we've seen it. We continued driving a little further, and eventually we reached the Lady Bird Johnson Grove Trail, which they have bathrooms here, by the way. This is a great trail. It's a 1.4 mile loop that walks you through a forest of these magnificent redwoods. So many of these trees are burnt and hollow on the inside. After finishing here, we get back in the car and start driving towards the next stop, which is the Prairie Creek area of the parks. And I say parks because there are several sections of this place, and they are all fairly separated out. For the Prairie Creek Visitor Center, you'll probably have to try and park on the road. There are like only 10 spots up close to the building. We decided to eat our lunch in this field. I had my leftover 4th of July burger. We make our long walk in from the car. And now let's check out the visitor center. Then we will walk out on the Prairie Creek Trail, which starts right outside of the visitor center and is a 1.2 mile loop. Okay, see little one? One day this will be you. I bought a little redwood seedling in the visitor center to bring home to my dad. Gotta show him all his potential. And this tree stump looks like a turtle. These trees are just so massive in circumference. Feels cool in there. Eventually, we make it back around to the visitor center. We continue a little deeper into the Prairie Creek section to visit the famous Big Tree Wayside. The big tree labeled here is not the biggest tree, by the way, it's just a big tree. And now we hop back in the car and start driving up north a bit further to Crescent City, where we will be camping for the night. The drive on the 101 along the coast was absolutely classic. And by the way, the drive from Prairie Creek area to Crescent City is about 45 minutes. We are staying at the KOA Holiday, which was below average for a holiday, although our individual site was beautiful and tucked away in a nice pocket of trees and ferns. Alright, let's go ahead and set up camp. So what made this place below average for a holiday KOA was that all of its facilities were incredibly worn down or not even operational at all. Only the main restrooms had hot water, which meant that everyone in the entire campground was using those showers, and there were only 3 in the women's bathroom, for example. They were also some of the worst campground showers I have ever seen anywhere. I'll try and show them later. Now, let's get a late lunch going. And now we head back down south a little. And of course, I gotta stop at the park sign and get my flag pick, which, by the way, this is right off the road coming south on the 101, just outside of Crescent City. We are heading down to hike on the Fern Canyon Trail, which was actually a filming location for Jurassic Park. This area is permit required until 5 p.m., and since we didn't have a permit, we had to wait until 5 to come here. And we need to close the convertible. To get to Fern Canyon, you have to go down a really long gravel road. I think we drove on it for around 15 minutes before we reached the entrance. There's also a beach with a campground in this area. For now, we'll get on the Fern Canyon Trail. And soon you'll see why it's permit required. There are so many people here. Few really obnoxious children around here. Parents really cannot get them to behave. Not all of them were annoying though. Here was a little traffic jam trying to get around these fallen trees. It was definitely worth the 5 p.m. wait and the long drive in. After that hike, we decided to check out the beach, which you can access from the parking lot. But after a little walking, we realized it was really far out and decided just to turn back around. Some parts of the road to get to and from were really washed out. This road was basically a whole pond at this point. A quick rinse of all the gravel dust back at the campsite. And now let's make some dinner. We will have steak, corn, and lasagna, topped with mozzarella and basil to take it to the next level. Okay, it's the next morning, so I'll show you these awful showers. First of all, it's just a really dirty facility. And then in each stall, none of them would secure close. I had to use my backpack to keep the door from flinging open. And also none of them had any hooks. I was so disgruntled, I really didn't do the best job to film it. They might not have had good showers here, but they did have goats.
She's really pregnant. She's also really pregnant.
Very well done. Good job, well done. After a quick campfire breakfast, we packed up and we're heading out. We decided that since we are so close to the border, we want to go ahead and drive up into Oregon a little bit because we have never been to that state before. That's a good welcome center. We got a ton of brochures from the welcome center, even one in German. and we stopped to get a quick McDonald's coffee in the town of Brookings. We decided we'll drive up to the Natural Bridges Viewpoint, one of the many stops on the Samuel H. Boardman State Scenic Corridor. It was definitely worth it. The drive from the campground to here was about 40 minutes. We decided after seeing this, we'll definitely need to make a return trip back to explore Oregon. We tried one more stop, but it seemed like it would take a little too long for now. Where is this going? No, I don't want to do that. So, let's continue back south into California again. Oh yeah, and gas seems to be way cheaper here in Oregon. And now we have to drive through an agricultural checkpoint to get back into California.
East on US 101 toward White Rock Loop.
Let's make a stop at this beach area, which is the Wilson Creek Beach. Beachfront property. Alright, next stop is back near our first stop, the same area where the Lady Bird Johnson Trail is.
On Bald Hills Road for 7 miles.
We'll be doing the Tall Trees Loop, for which I did snag a daily permit. The area to get to the Tall Trees Loop is gated and locked. The NPS will send you an email with the code on the day of your permit. And the drive to the trailhead is another long gravel road, like really long. I think longer than the other one. Eventually, we get to the trailhead and decided to make another jet boil lunch in this little pavilion. By the way, there's no running water down here, so you do need to bring plenty. This was $2.50. What a steal. Ooh, veggie chili. After lunch, we got started. The walk down was not the worst, but it was just so hot today. It's really hot. I think it's like 100 degrees or so. I'm just kind of hoping the payoff will be worth the journey, both hiking and the long drive in. So far, it seems very similar to other tree areas that we've seen. This hike is a total of 3.6 miles with a large change in elevation and 1 mile being a flat loop at the bottom. I think if it wasn't miserably hot, this trail would have definitely been worth it, but the air was not pleasant to breathe in, especially going uphill. The whole time I was low-key ready to be done. The trees here just didn't seem that different from everything else that we've already seen. Honestly, by the time we got back to the car, mind you, we had to go uphill for 800 feet. I was really ready to go. And now we're heading more south. Let's stop at In-N-Out while we are out west. This is in Eureka, California, by the way. And we'll have one more stop before San Francisco, and that is the Drive-Thru Tree. This is a privately owned area and is quite out of the national park area. It's absolutely a tourist trap, but I thought it was worth it to see at least once. I mean, we drove through a tree. That's kind of cool.
California 271 for 1.5 miles.
And now on to San Francisco. Make sure you subscribe to stick around and see everything we did in San Francisco as we wrapped up this amazing trip.